Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I'm on the road and I am in Bhul, Idaho.
Yep.
And had an opportunity, one of my viewers, Mr. Langdon, or
Lauren
Langdon. I'm sorry, I had the last name first. Lauren Langdon. He actually sent me a note and said, hey, come by and visit the shop while you're in the area. And as it turned out, I had some time, so I did. And guys, I've been blown away, so I asked him if we could do a little quick shop tour. You guys aren't going to get to see all of his antique engines that I just went and looked at, but that was an amazing collection.
Yep, it's been a lot of fun. I've collected them for a lot of years.
Well, this is his hobby shop. Now that you're retired, you were in the business for many years, and he has kind of consolidated everything here. So we're just gonna do a shop tour, let you guys take a look at this cool place. So, anything you want to talk about your shop here before we get started?
You know, I needed a place, and I was going to build a shop, and so I decided to had this old warehouse, so I turned it into my hobby shop. It's a little bit big, but it works, and I've got so much damn junk that, you know, it just works.
There you go. How big is this building?
A little over 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's a little on the small side. All right, let's go for a tour.
Okay.
So he's got a couple of engines in here that he's working on, and this is the kind of stuff that he collects. And so what do we got right here?
Well, first, these flywheels here, these are off of a Fairbanks tractor that I'm getting ready to restore. It's a 1910 1525 single-cylinder Fairbanks tractor. It's going to be a complete restoration because the tractor's in pretty wore-out condition, so it needs lots of work, lots of cleaning. We're going to bore the cylinder, make lots of new parts and new gears. And this engine here is a 25 horse Foos, and I built the base for this here a number of years ago in my shop, and I was getting ready to mount it on here, and we've had it running. We're trying to figure out the muffler. It's not working too well, what I wanted to put on here for a muffler, but you know, it's just another project and it's in the works. The other engine here is a 32 horse Fairbanks. I built the base for this one also, and the muffler, and I've had this one running, but it was just time to freshen it up and you know, put it on a new base so we could play with it once in a while. And I collect a lot of Fairbanks, and it's just one of the many.
How many Fairbanks engines do you think you got? You probably don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I got at least a dozen.
Yeah, big ones like this.
Yeah.
Big ones, that's pretty neat.
I got from 60 horse to 5 horse.
Wow. So this is what every shop needs right here. He's got a whole area in here with cabinets full of stuff. And you used to be in the...
I was in the hardware business and in the machinery business and supplied cutting tools. We had several machine shops and fab shops. And so we went to a lot of auctions and bought inventories out. And so these cabinets were all, you know, in these stores, and they're full of everything from cutting tools to flap discs to, you know, stuff that I purchased over the years that I just hoarded up and I use in my daily work when I play in the shop.
There you go.
I don't usually have to go to the hardware store very often.
Got more storage back here on the back wall, some stock.
Yeah, just, you know, short pieces of, you always need some material for little jobs, and cabinets full of drills and taps and precision tools. You know, you never can have enough Steric tools to, you know, do a little bit of work, and I just, you know, pretty well organized and cutting tools and taps and you name it, it's in here someplace. Just cabinet after cabinet full of drill bits and reamers.
So you got a little Victor lathe here.
This is a nice little lathe. We had to put some new gears in it, but it works good. And it's real handy when you got something in the other lathe and you want to do the other side and not tear down your setup, or you got something set up over there and you want to do something here. And
well, this one back here is Really a cool machine. Tell me about this Graziano.
The Graziano, I bought this engine, or this engine lathe probably 25 years ago, and it is, they're made in, I think, Italy or Spain or someplace, and I just really like running this thing. When I have a small job, I do this, and it's got this, quick shift drive and variable speed, and it's just a real handy size for the small projects. You make it a needle valve or something small, it just works really well.
That's a beauty.
It's just a nice machine. Really well built, it's got nice lathe, ways in it and everything, and I got it equipped well, and so.
There you go. Got a big heavy duty A-bomb size shaper here.
Yeah.
That is neat. So what brand is this? Is this an Atlas? Or?
I think this is an Atlas. I can't remember now. It says down there on the other side, but I can't see it.
I can't read it either, but you guys can probably see it in the video, so we'll read that later.
Lots of tap handles you need, and every once in a while I tap some stuff up to 2 inch. So when you're tapping big holes, you need the big wrench.
Yeah. So I sent a picture of this to Adam Booth a few minutes ago, and he's like, "That's not a tap wrench. That's a tap wrench."
I keep the handles up there because I don't use those handles every day. But this is my sharp. I got a digital readout on it, and it's a real workhorse.
Yeah.
I really like it. It's it's got a 3-inch hole in the spindle.
That's nice.
I don't usually use all that bed length, but it's handy.
Well, when you need it, you need it.
That's right.
So he's got this neat little Bridgeport. Tell them the story about this Bridgeport. I thought it was pretty neat when you were telling me earlier.
When I was in the machinery business, one of my dealers that I worked with sold my machinery. He called me up and wanted to know if I wanted to buy a Bridgeport, a brand new one. And I said, well, what's the deal? And he says, well, it's brand new at $7,000. And so I said, well, what's wrong with it? He said, really nothing. What happened is that they shipped it in, and it was tarped with a couple barrels of caustic material in the month of July here in Idaho. And one of the barrels leaked, and so it turned all the shiny table and all the ways were this dark brown, except where you moved the table and it was bright chrome. And so I bought it from the insurance company because the customer wouldn't take it because it was dull instead of bright. But I've had it in the shop for several different shops for years, and it's my go-to Bridgeport whenever I need to do a little work.
It's a nice one.
Yeah.
And talking about shapers, maybe not quite A-bomb size here. So this is a 16-inch G&E.
This is the tool room shaper, and it's got the tilting table that goes, all the different directions.
Some people call that a universal. Tool room, either one. Yep.
Yeah. And it's got, it went through a fire, but it's cleaned up nice and it works good. We had to do a little work on the inside gears, and the slides and stuff had got kind of damaged in the fire, but it's a nice machine. I don't really have any good jobs for it, but once in a while it's just fun to play with. I had one in the shop in real early years, and it just, you never lose that fascination with making little parts with a shaper.
It's one of the most versatile tools. It's not always the fastest tool, but there's just so much you can do on one.
There's just some things that it'll do that's just fantastic.
Absolutely.
This is my little radial arm 4-foot drill press. You can't get along without a big drill press sometimes. I do, a lot of bigger stuff eventually, and drilling big tractor hubs and putting extra holes in manhole covers or whatever it is. It's just handy to have a radial arm drill.
They're so handy, and you can do so much on them. Yeah, if you got particularly if you're doing any larger work, man, they're just indispensable. So you got a Cincinnati horizontal?
Yep. You know, I've used it for a number of little jobs, and I actually made a universal joint for a tractor here a year or so ago, and I needed to rough out all the outside shapes and stuff for this universal, and so I had a lot of the stuff clamped in here and was milling on the side and stuff with it, and for hogging off material, it's real handy.
Can't beat it.
Can't beat it, that's right.
So tell me about this fly press back here.
Oh, I got a lot of blacksmith stuff, and so we, and since I don't have press brakes and all that other stuff, we have this tooling that we've made up to bend angles and different things, and so it's really handy. You can just put some stuff in here, and it's got a lot of force, and so we bend stuff in here all the time and make hangers for the cords or little clamps to go around pipe on different jobs, but it's just got a lot of power. It'll come down and hit pretty damn hard.
Wow.
You know, and so it just, I have it, so we use it. You know, it just works out great, and we use it. So this SuperMax I got from a friend of mine. He had got it, and we cleaned it all up, and it's a big heavy-duty machine. It's got power on the table, power up and down, and feeds on all the directions, X, Y, and Z. And I haven't really used it on any jobs yet, but I got some bigger jobs that I'm going to be doing. I got some bushings in the tractors that I got to bore the holes for and bore the bushings to size, and so I'm looking forward to using this for quite a few different jobs.
It's a nice one, and it's got the vertical and the horizontal spindle. So you pull that cap off back there, you got a horizontal spindle. Got a nice
power everywhere on this thing.
Yeah, that's nice to have that extra real estate for doing larger work. And what about this engine?
This is a Fairbanks, what they call a deep well pumper, and it's got a clutch on it and stuff. And it was made to, it sit right next to the well, and the pump rod hooked back here on this gear, and this is the clutch here to disengage this. And typically I made another base for this, and this would have been probably in a pump house where the well was, and pumped water for a small town or something. But it's a typical just Fairbanks early hit and miss gas engine.
Wow. Got all the little small stuff back here that you can't live without. Got some presses and coal saw there.
Yeah. We're moving some stuff. Everything's kind of blocked at the moment, but there's a 2-ton bridge crane in this part of the shop. So anytime you want to move something, it's handy. You just put a strap around it, pick it up, and put it out on the floor where we want to use it.
Yeah, that's the
rest of the time it's out of the way.
That's the same arbor press I've got. I love that thing. Coal saw, got a couple more presses over here. So that's kind of looking down the aisle here, and you can see the 2-ton bridge crane up there in the top. What I'd kill to have one of those. That is nice. Powermatic.
Yep. You know, just drilling holes all the time, making brackets and spacers, and always something to drill. And of course, you got to have a little iron worker.
Yeah, I mean, who can have a shop without an iron worker in it?
Yeah.
As I raise my hand, but that sure is a handy thing to have, particularly for fabrication work.
It's got flats, angles, shapes. Got a punch on one end, a coper on the other end. You know, we do some production cutting with this for stuff for my son and whatnot that does general contracting and stuff.
What's the size thickness with this thing cut?
Oh, this thing here, it'll cut a 5x5 half, 18 by 5/8 flat. It'll shear a 3/8 round, an 1 3/8 square, 6x6 by half. You know.
Wow.
So it's 55, or is this 70 tons, or I can't remember.
70 ton, yeah.
This is 70 tons. I've had so many different ones over the years.
Now this is what I'm jealous of. I love these marble saws. This is a newer one. They've got some really old ones out there that look a little more classic, but man, this thing is really neat. So tell them about this saw.
I just bought this at an auction, and I felt like I got a pretty good deal. It's got a couple little issues with it, but we got it powered up and found out that somebody's robbed the belts off of it. But everything else seems to be pretty good. I've got some more vices coming to put on it, and this one's actually goes over on that side.
So if you're not familiar with one of these saws, you clamp your work in here, and basically this whole head just feeds across. There you go.
So it just,
yep.
And it'll cut like 18 inches.
Yeah, they're really, really nice saws.
But it's a little work in progress, but it's not going to be long. We're going to have this up and running.
I would love to have one of those in my shop. That's a really neat item.
Yeah. I've got several riveters. These are Rivet Squeezers. And I have a lot of handheld air-powered stuff, but this is hydraulic squeeze. So this squeezer here is 35 tons. Got a 12-inch throat. We were putting in 5/8 rivets hot into 3060 Altman Taylor, squeezing the rivets into the lugs with this machine. And I've got over there, I've got a 50-ton squeeze. These are 5,000 PSI pumps, and they put out lots of pressure in that thing. It works fast. It just surprising how many rivets you can put in with one of these compared to using an air handheld. This is a piece that we riveted together just as a sample. We were playing around one day, but these were 3/8 rivets, but these are done cold. Doesn't take much tonnage for these, but it was just a sample that we did for a customer.
Neat.
This is an 8-foot 12-gauge finger brake. It's we don't do a lot of sheet metal, but you know, every once in a while you want to bend up a guard cover or make a little box or something. Comes in handy. And you can get lots of friends if you have one of these. Everybody wants to come by and bend a couple little pieces, you know.
I bet.
You know.
All right. Well, you over the pandemic, you said you had this little office built on.
Yes, my carpenter friend couldn't get any work because nobody wanted him in his house when the pandemic first started. So I'd asked him several times to build this little office space for me. So he come to me one day and says, "How about next week?" I said, "That'd be fine." So anyhow, it's not real big, but I just wanted a place that I could keep my toys and have a place I could come in and have a private conversation once in a while. And I've got quite a few hot air engines. I've got some model gas engines, some steam engines, just stuff that I've collected over the years. And a boy doesn't have enough toys unless you just have lots of them.
Yeah. Well, guys, and I mean, this is some of his little small stuff. Like I said, we went over to another farm, another building. I didn't have the camera with me, but that's where his big engines are. But this is some amazing stuff. So that was a steam engine out of a boat.
A small boat, yeah.
Neat. Got a nice anvil there.
You need to borrow it, Keith?
He's strong. He can pick it up with one hand. And his collection just continues to amaze. So look at this piece. This is a scale model of a Case traction engine.
Right.
So that was a kit someone put together?
Well, you buy a casting kit, and then everything else had to be made. I mean, you know, it didn't come with any of the steel components. I mean, like the wheels, you know, it would come with the hubs. You had to make the spokes. It would come with the lugs. You'd get something like these castings, you know, and this kind of a casting, but, you know, the steps had to be fabricated, and lots of the other stuff is fabricated. All the boiler had to be fabricated, you know.
That is just an amazing piece. Someone has spent a lot of time.
A lot of time. There's a lot of model builders out there that build awful amazing stuff, and this is just an example of some of their work. And I didn't build this by any means, but it's a nice piece.
And you got over here a bunch of like Salesman Samples.
Yeah, these are mostly Salesman Samples. There's a couple toys in there, and a lot of it's ag related stuff because I grew up in an ag community, and like industrial and ag stuff, farm related stuff.
This road grader here, that is amazing.
Everybody needs 2 road graders.
Yeah, one's not enough, obviously. Just some awesome stuff in here.
And then the Salesman Sample windmills. There's 2 different ones.
That's crazy. It's even got a Salesman Sample miniature micrometer.
Actually, a teaching aid for came out of Boeing's, and they used that in the classroom to instruct the students on how to read the micrometer. So the guy in the front of the room could be telling them how to set it, how to read it, while they had a small mic sitting back at the desk and doing their part.
Look, it's even the tenths reading micrometer. What is it actually, what do the increments actually measure out to be? Have you ever checked that?
I've never checked it. You know, I'm sure that it's pretty scaled. Because,
oh yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah,
it's got to be. I was just curious.
But,
and then down below, a bunch more steam engine models.
some of those are actually teaching aids, like these over here. They'd have those in the classrooms to teach 4-cycle and steam engine valving and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is a
Salesman Sample rock crusher with a conveyor.
wow.
And so this would have had, they would have had horses that were pulling the gravel in from off the side of a mountain or something into here, and it would drop into there and get crushed and go up here and load into that, and it'd probably been driven with a steam tractor.
Wow. And you've even got one of the calendars from, that's your dad's business? Or?
That one would have been my grandfather's.
Okay.
That was in Twin Falls.
Wow. And some more, what is this?
That's some kind of a demonstration model that, you know, for a gas engine, you know, it could have been a teaching aid, but it shows both the valves. This would have been a T-head design.
Right.
And so it shows how the cam operates the valves and how the piston stroke, and it would have had a timer on there when it hooked to a battery, so the light would come on when it would show the explosion.
Show the spark
and then
going
they could
off.
talk about the exhaust and the intake and basically teach in theory.
And more engines and other stuff. An amazing, amazing collection you got. And everybody's got to have their library. I might have you beat on books. You probably got more someplace else, though.
Well, I got a lot of duplicates. I don't have that many. There's lots of there's duplicates in there. I couldn't remember what I bought last time.
I have that problem, too. All right. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed that little tour here. I have been out here pretty much all morning, and we've been, oh my goodness, we've been to yards full of stuff and barns, and he's taking me all over the place.
Well,
it's like, you know, throw me in the briar patch.
it's junk heaven.
Junk heaven. This is my kind of people. I have thoroughly enjoyed my morning.
Well, it's been
thank
great
you for
to
your
see you,
hospitality.
No problem.
Thank you for being willing to go on camera here and share this with folks. Hopefully some other folks out there will enjoy it. And anyway, we're in Bhul, Idaho.
That's right.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Take care. Have a safe trip now.
All right, guys. As always, thanks for watching. As we always say, please subscribe, hit the like button, all that good stuff, and we will catch you on the next video.